crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
The penetrator.
Ah, come on, look, because I always went the farthest into the target, goddammit. Libya, Tunisia, Lebanon, it was me, pal. I was always first in, last out.
This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open.
Its blood was on the leaves.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Loki's just a tad tired this morning after Final Fantasy VII last night. Holy crap. Good morning. Welcome, everyone, to Thirsty Thursday here on Mornings of Mischief. I'm your host, Stone Loki. With me today, of course, is the man, the myth, the legend. He runs Mephisto's movie reviews. That's right. What is going on, man? Welcome to Mornings of Mischief.
Morning, Loki. How you doing? I'm good. I'm actually
fired
good.
Fired up, ready to burn some shit down. Even though I'm tired as hell.
I'm tired as hell, and I cannot take it anymore. Yeah, I'm good. I'm actually good. I'm full of coffee. You know, the big cup is full.
Holy moly! I wish I could drink some coffee like that.
It's easy when you're impervious to caffeine like me. And I
thought I was until they were like, "Yeah, your heart goes way too fast. No more caffeine there, buddy."
Yeah. I'm good on all fronts. I'm talk to you about dealing with some shit behind the scenes. Other than that, I'm pretty fucking good. I had a pretty productive day. Hi,
Arwen's like,
hi, everybody.
No.
Yeah, I'll say Arwen was on my show with Mrs. Meff, the only time Mrs. Meff was on. So if she wants to say hello, she can say hello. Want to say hello? Just do like this.
We'll do it properly.
Hello.
Can't hear you, but hello.
Yeah. Hello.
There she is.
The annoying woman to the left.
Yes.
That smacks him over the head every once in a while. Pah!
Yep. If I get out of line, just only if I get out of line.
And then he'll get one of those.
Yeah,
See?
yeah. Ah,
See?
yes.
It's real and it's terrible.
That's what brings the love of a good woman is the
Oh yeah.
damn it.
Oh yeah.
Damn it.
It's you know, when you always need that person to check you when you're out of line. It's either your boys or your good woman.
Oh yeah.
If she smacks you all the time, not too sure she's a good woman. But you know,
Arwen loves her.
God damn it. That was real. That wasn't rehearsed, maybe.
No, that was on the spot improv.
Like I said, we're together for like 25 years, married 18. So I'm good. Yeah, forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, she's the one that got me all the good stuff. She okayed all the decorations. She okayed all the she was the one who got me the extended versions that I showed you on the show. The Lord of the Rings extended versions came with a mock the One Ring. It's all that stuff. And she was the one that got me that sword that you saw. Everything.
Nice. I know nobody ever gets to see this because I never there's a bunch of stuff in here that people don't normally get to see. That is all Eris. It's all Eris.
I heard you say that. I think you talked to Mike about it or somebody else. Like I was doing something else, so I was not like engaged in the conversation. But you said that you don't really buy anything for yourself these days. It's just Eris that takes care of that. Yeah, it's
just Eris. So it's like, oh, you want the new Final Fantasy with the statue and all that crap? Yeah, I already ordered it for you. Oh, you worried it won't be here day one? The online version, the digital version. Yeah, I already ordered it for you. You should have codes on your PlayStation. I'm like, oh my God, woman. I end up owning like 4 different versions of the same game. Oh, well, I wanted to make sure you can play it on your computer. I want to make sure you can play it on this. And,
yeah. Well,
and then she goes and does something I absolutely did not expect yesterday. She goes and buys $300 worth of Warhammer stuff and paints because she was looking for a store in Sugarland to shoot. And I was like, well, there's a Warhammer store over there. And she's like, do you think they let me like paint one of the little things there? I'm like, oh, I'm sure they would. I'm sure, you give them like $20 or something. They'll let you paint right there. And she didn't have to do that. They were just like, oh no, we love it when new girls come in. So here's the paints. Here's a couple of free paints. Just pick your colors. We've got, stuff in the back. And oh, here's a figure. Go to town. And we spent like an hour there yesterday. And then we left with $300 worth of Warhammer stuff. Oh my God.
My best buddy, the one I do my show with, Oh My Feelings. We were doing Event Horizon. And he's like, you're not like a Warhammer fan. It's like, I know of it. I know of the Warhammer, greenskins and dwarves. He's like, no. Warhammer 40K, something completely different. And we kind of went over a little bit of it. And he said, well, knowing me, you would probably like the whole lore behind it and everything. But make sure if you get into Warhammer 40K, stick to the lore stuff because the other stuff will like bankrupt you. And I was like, what, for like these little plastic figurines? And he's like, you know what? Just go to like Games Workshop.
Yeah.
Dude, a pack of 6 Ultramarines is like $39 unpainted.
Yeah.
And then you have to buy 4 different kinds of paints and 2 kinds of shaders, meaning you need to get like 6 different paints. Then you need 3 or 4 different brushes to make sure you got the different thickness and all that sucker. That sucker's $100. That's a lot of money for me.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for me.
Yeah. And I knew.
'Cause I have to convert it and I have to pay for long distance shipping,
Yep.
which is fine because Games Workshop is typically from the UK, so it's not a complete fucking destruction. It's too much. Plus, I like the figurines. I'm not a good painter or good artist, so I'm like, I'll stick to the lore. I'm pretty good with the lore.
That's me. I'm horrible with a brush. This is me doing a figure. I'm like it's like a crown. I've got like a crown, and I'm just like, no, it doesn't work. But her, in like, an hour, it was like, oh, something you buy off the shelf, and you're like, how did you get the gold to come out that color? Oh, I did this, and this. And I'm like, oh yeah, art major. Holy shit.
I have a good friend. I have a good friend who lives, he is from the Netherlands. His wife is from the UK. Before they got married and she went over to live there, she was doing custom paint jobs for other people just to supplement income. They got a girl and all that stuff. So supplement income. She did that for other people. He showed me a few pictures. These are like top-notch quality, out of the factory kind of paint jobs. So she took a lot of time doing that, and she didn't charge much. But she made a decent, side gig out of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
she
wouldn't you like an extra $500 a month on top of what you're doing?
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Tell you what, who wouldn't? And she doesn't care about the characters or any of that. She just likes. This is so relaxing. Anyway, let's get to Dune. Okay, so fair warning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna put up a banner. Be prepared, because yes, we are talking about this. Yes, we're gonna get into some of the lore. We're gonna get into the movie. We're gonna get into. Hopefully, we'll get into a little bit of the book.
I've brushed up on the book today a little bit, but the version, because you can go online, best source is Nerd Cookies, Elaine, best source for Dune. I didn't have the time to watch one of her older videos that kind of breaks down the entire lore. But I saw a few of those snippets just to brush up on the actual lore for the book itself. I'm pretty versed in it, but sometimes the 1984 movie kind of washes off, and it's not really typically sticks to the entire lore. So
no, neither did there were problems with the TV miniseries. They were faithful, a lot more faithful, but it still had its issues. So to me, it's like every single adaptation of this has had issues. So what am I looking at? What am I looking for? For me, I'm looking for a good, entertaining time. Someone asked me the other day, weren't you offended? And I'm like, what do you mean offended? Oh, how they spoke of the Southern people. I'm like, hell no. We loved it. We love that shit. You have to understand something about Southerners. Like Arwen, y'all, and me. Yes, we have an accent. Yes, we go with that accent. We are not offended by the way we talk. We don't care. We don't care what other people think, because we're Southern, y'all, and that's the way it is. I didn't get offended.
I guess someone didn't actually play Dune the game. I played Dune the game before Dune. It went into Dune 2, where it was more RTS-y, kind of like Warcraft, and then Dune 2000, which was complete RTS, no story, just
that's right.
No.
It's Oh yeah. I played all three.
Yeah.
I loved Dune 2 and Dune 2000. I thought because I love strategy games. So I love like the Command and Conquer stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, my friend would come up out of the sand and pew 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 pew. And
to me, it was like Command and Conquer or Warcraft, kind of the first one, kind of led off into Command and Conquer, kind of led off to what was supposed to be our RTS. I didn't know Dune, and it was like my friend was like, "Why are you playing Dune? You need to play Dune 2. It's more of your game." Played Dune 2, played Warcraft 2. So all those RTSs were in my wheelhouse, and I think StarCraft came out when I enlisted, so I wasn't into the hype. But yeah.
I remember the interesting thing about the Warcraft, and we're not talking about WoW here. This is before WoW.
Yeah, Warcraft, when it was humans versus orcs. Yeah.
Humans versus orcs. And the buildings and how you could assign the people, and you had to have a guy go out and cut wood and do all this crazy stuff. And I mean, those were so fun. And then they did. I don't remember what my problem was with 3, but I had a problem with 3, and I was just like, I don't want to play these anymore. And then they came out with that WoW, and they never made another RTS again.
It's the hero system that they've implemented. It's the fact that they were trying to tell you a story, and it was RTS in the middle. And I went back and I actually bought Warcraft 3 Reforged, because I didn't play Warcraft 3. I circumstances. I only saw people play it, and went into the first chapter of the game, and I was like, I'm done. It's not what I wanted. Plus, it was buggy. It was buggy even on PC, and I was like, not refund it. I don't care.
When it's supposed to be reforged and remastered, and you're like, this sucks.
It really did. It's like they were supposed to upgrade the resolution. They were supposed to upgrade everything that looks, and it looked like a 1998 game in terms of looks, and it played like a 2002 game or the 2000 game. It's like, this 2022 or whenever it was that it came out. It's like, really? Fine, refund.
Yeah,
I didn't care. I was getting off WoW like at the time, so I was like, I'm done with Blizzard. I'm really done. It's like I'm done with their shenanigans anymore. It's like I don't want to. I'm done. I gave 16 years to that fucking game. I'm done.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And a lot of people gave a lot of money. But we are not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
We've got it out of our system.
It does tie into 40K. Dune. It does tie into 40K. When I was rewatching, relearning the books, or reminding myself about the books, like, this, like, whoever did 40K lore was really into Dune. And that's why, like, some people like do not get into the lore of Dune. It's like not Dune, just the book, the like 16,000 years of stuff that happened, and some of it's told in sort of back, going backwards, and some of it's going into the future, and it's like you need to be on top of it. And Frank Herbert even said that the story isn't complete, and even when you read it, there seems to be like, we're gonna get into a crescendo, but then you've got like a taste for more. And he even said that at some point his characters kind of ran away from him. He was like, I don't know where this is going. And then he died. Yeah.
And Brian came along and decided to work with a guy named Kevin J. Anderson. And a lot of people do not consider any of that really connected to Dune. So
So
It's up to you.
let's go into the movie. All right.
Okay.
'Cause everybody's here for the movie, and we've been going on and on. Anyway,
Southerners.
Let's preface this. I watched Dune Part 1, and I absolutely loved it.
Okay.
And I was like, this is a great vision for half of this book. It's really good. It is if you think about adaptation, right? You want the adaptation to be as close as you can to the book without it being just gonna tell you the book. All right. Can you? Thank you.
Never.
Shh. You want to be as close to the book, but you want to be in movie form. So it needs to be visual. If you're telling a visual story, you need to like appetize the brain with the story, with the characters, and you want to appetize your eyes. You want to see gorgeous things. If we're talking about Dune, you need to see various looks of the desert. All right.
Right.
You need to visually see something spectacular. You're looking for an epic when you're talking about this kind of adaptation, right? So the first part was incredible, amazing. The technology was great. The instant transferring between the planets, with the sort of they thought of as a hollowed kind of tube that you go past one side and you pass through the other side, and that's how you travel. Kind of like the way they did it in Rebel Moon, but without this space vagina.
Well, you've got it's almost like wormhole, like Stargate, Deep Space Nine, whatever you want to throw at it, and that's the Spacing Guild deciding, okay, where does it go this time? Because it's not just like, oh, I fly in and I fly out someplace. No, the Spacing Guild's got to be like, okay, we're going to send you here. And you pay the toll. It's like a toll road. You pay the toll and you go. Without that, there is no going from planet to planet.
Yeah.
Because the AI needed to plot a course from A to B, they don't have, because they're technophobes almost.
They're sort of like, this is if you're into like the 40K lore, they've sort of there was an AI and they overthrew their AI. They're like complete technophobe. Everything is sort of base technology. You don't even have computers. That's why you have mentats.
Yes.
And by the way, the closest to kind of show you what the mentat does was in Dune Part 2, where they're asking Thufir something after they land. They ask Thufir
that's part
for
1.
something,
How much?
and he goes like, yes, and he's like tells them the answer.
That's when the Emperor's entourage shows up on Caladan, and they're like, "How much did they spend to do this?" And he's like, $1,500,000,000 Centaurs.
Yeah.
Sorry. Wow.
So
what a way to travel.
You didn't get that in Dune 84. They were just like, well, Thufir's a mentat, and they don't address it.
Yeah.
And they have the Baron kind of interrogate him for some reason, and it just doesn't go anywhere because they've cut away like half the movie. But when it comes to like,
they should have followed up in the 84 movie. They should have followed up, and Paul should have said, I know what they want you to do. He should have talked to Thooper and just told him, I know what they want you to do. I know what they expect you to do. And him, come here, Thooper. And him walk over and turn around and drop because he was going to assassinate Paul.
Yeah.
They had him set up to assassinate Paul. And, him, my will is my own, and throw that at the Emperor so that
you can't stop him.
So that you get that. And they should have done that. That is something that is a criticism I have with the new movie, is there are characters that were missing, and obviously a miscast from our wonderful lady up here, up there, wherever she is, wherever I'm pointing at. The lovely Zendaya.
The Zendaya is a complete miscast for the role. Like, she doesn't know how to act. She is, I think, who said it? It was either you or Mike or somebody said that she's just like MJ from Spider-Man. And I was like, yes, exact. She's deadpan. Now she has a show, I think, Euphoria. I've seen one snippet of it. She acts exactly the same there. So it's even keel, monotone, has the same. She kind of looks like she's angry. Well, I'll give her that. She looks like she's angry when she's supposed to be angry. Other than that, she is the same. She is MJ. She is Johnny, whatever. The problem is, if you've seen Dune 84, Chani doesn't really play like a spectacular role. They kind of left her by the wayside because of, I don't know, Lynch's reasons, but she had more to play. They did have that angle, but it's like, I don't know, a minute of the entire movie was touched upon that particular thing of her and Paul. If you saw the miniseries, there you're like, oh, finally, they're developing this relationship. And in this one, it's like, okay, in this one, you are leaning on that relationship and how it actually became to be that relationship. But it kind of gets spoiled in the end. A little bit.
They make her act. And this, if they planned it this way from the get-go, they made a huge mistake. If this was something her people were like, no, it's got to be like this, or we've got to change it to this, or whatever. If they pushed him to change this and he caved, this is completely on them. I have no problem with her questioning who he is. I have no problem in the beginning with her being like, you have to prove yourself. I have no problem with her not being an unbeliever. There are people that are very religious, medium religious, and do not believe in shit religious. Okay? Their whole religion is based around, I don't believe in shit. And she is one of those people in this movie. But because of her name, and I'm not talking about Chani, but because of her name,
Zendaya,
and what we discover, what that name means, and then what she does, that should have been the holy shit awakening moment. And I'm with him to the death. I'm by his side. And that, boom, right there. I had no problem with it up until she's like, no, I'm still not a believer. He did something no man had ever done before. No man had ever done this and lived. She knew it was impossible.
The problem for me is, okay. The problem for me is they have a moment where they have that conversation on the top of the dune, and he says to her, I want to be equal to you. Now, in the context, it kind of sounds like I want to be a Fedaykin. I want to be a Fremen warrior. But it's very messagey. Where is it? I've got it. The message.
The message.
Right? It's very much like that. And when it was on screen, literally, my wife, I didn't do it. My wife was like, again. And she's not into the culture war. She's not into that stuff. And she like regressively groaned. You know when that happened? For the very first time that I met with her in a cinema watching a movie, Endgame. Do you know which scene?
The girl fight.
The girl fight.
See?
Pissed me off.
See? And she's like, she's not a neurotic watcher. She doesn't watch Critical Drinker. She's not into this shit, right? It's like, okay, now I know it kind of went into normie territory where it's there.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Tell her no, she's great.
She says you're great. Don't worry about it. Okay.
No, you're great.
And I was like, yeah, I know what they were going for, but it came off very messagey. And I was like, oh, they had to put it in there. Somehow they had to put it in there. But to be fair, it was probably the only point where I was like, that could have been like edited better or taken out or something, worded differently somehow. The problem with Zendaya wasn't that particular scene. It was the fact that she doesn't know how to act.
Hey,
She doesn't.
And they changed that, Mark.
why am I coming?
So a Beta Keen is a Fremen-born warrior that has passed all the trials to be a holy warrior.
Yeah.
So and she's done that. So, but you have to be born there. This is a big thing. You have to be born a Fremen. This is something they go over incessantly in the movie that I was like, I don't remember that.
No, not even the northern southern thing. That's what I said. The game. I'm pretty sure, I haven't played it in a while. I'm pretty sure it's in the game Dune that came about 3-4 years after the movie. The game even has like Paul Atreides is Kyle MacLachlan. And when he does the transfer, you can see the transfer of like how his eyes turn into blue as the game as you progress into the game.
Yes.
And that's where I think that's where the northern southern thing comes. It's not in the book. Not that I remember. But yeah, there were some people that were more susceptible. And I'm pretty sure the book doesn't have that angle where the Bene Gesserit are the ones who planted the prophecy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
it's an adaptation. It's not bad. I thought it was kind of like they're coming from a place where they know the Bene Gesserit are trying to get to that seed, to that like to some sort of Kwisatz Haderach that they can control. So they manipulate all the different houses, and once they didn't need a house, they just discarded and all that stuff. That is kind of in the book, but the prophecy being planted, I'm not sure it was there. Again, it kind of fit with the theme of the book of the both movies.
I'm pretty sure they did, but okay. So they put
I'm not sure.
the Reverend Mothers. No, I know. I'm just saying they put the Reverend Mothers there and they planted this idea, but it grew more into what it was. So it wasn't like they gave them everything. It's just the Reverend Mothers that were there could see forward.
Yeah. Okay.
So
like I said, I haven't read the book in a long while. It's all out of memory. So if I make a mistake here and there, like I said, when you do an adaptation, you do have some sense of freedom because you kind of have to. Because if you do line by line the book, the movie won't be good, really, because you need that spectacular moment. You know that moment where there's a big Harkonnen ship and they just bombard State Tuber, right? That's a visual moment. Was it in the book? Maybe not like that. I don't remember it destroying one of the reservoirs. I don't remember. Maybe it's there. I just don't remember every single chapter. But I don't remember that moment.
I think they were taking that the part where, okay, so in the book, this doesn't happen in the movie, so I'm not, it's just a book thing. Chani and Paul have a child in the book.
Yes.
And that child is killed when the Harkonnens raid the Siege. And I think that's
And
when that old lady fights him off. The old woman there fights him off. And it's to show you that even an old lady Fremen is badass.
Yes.
And can do some crazy shit. That was the whole point of that. That's not in there, but I think they did the bombardment and they had that one female warrior who stayed behind and killed. Oh, you killed 10 of my elite Harkonnen troops. That, I think that kind of replaced that. And you never got the scene with Paul and Chani having a child because they never fast forwarded time. You gotta understand, the book, it's like 3 years go by.
Yeah,
It's
even
like
in the
3
movie,
months
even in the movie, you get the sense of, okay, time has passed, because every time there's like a training montage or you move from one training scene to another training scene, and then it becomes like they show you bombardment. They attack those ships until they come to the one ship that they attack where Gurney Halleck is there, and he explained that Muad'Dib is the one who attacks so many other ships. So that kind of shows you the passage of time within the movie. The only problem is physically you don't see Paul age because the actor doesn't age, which is fine, but he mostly stays in the same clothings until he becomes the Lisan al-Gaib. Then he kind of has extra clothings on him.
They put the hood on him, and
they put the hood on, they put the thing on.
I tell you what, man, that blew me away when you see him. So he's got the hood on, and he's got his Fremen suit on, and he's walking out of the desert, and he's walking toward the Fremen, and you see this effing sandworm just come up out of the ground and like dive back in, and you're like, holy shit! Like he made him do it, right?
That's the spectacle of it. That's the stuff that I liked. The only problem is the stuff between those things drove me up the wall. It was, look, you said it. It was, I got in, I blinked, and it's like autumn. It's like I was there. I was done. And I wanted to go back and rewatch it again. To me, the movie stopped. There were no cheering in the crowd. Not in the middle and not in the end. It was 85% empty for an opening night. Mind you, it was a Wednesday night, not a Thursday. Usually it's a Thursday. No, sorry. It was a Tuesday night, which is middle of the week. Usually it's very low. So I think just the fans who really wanted to, like, I don't want any spoilers. I want to be off the Twitters, off the Facebooks, off all of that until I watch and I can like watch it in the middle of the week. Probably be a better crowd, but it was 85% empty. It was nerds. And when it was finished and I was walking outside with my wife and she looked at me and was like, that was boring. She said it. It's like, boring. This is fucking boring. I nodded off in several parts. And she nodded off. Really?
Okay, so like I'm starting to wonder if we even saw the same damn movie. Sunday night we got our fan release. Every theater sold out. I mean, all across the states, it's like sold out. You were lucky if you came in and you actually got the opportunity to buy a ticket, you were lucky. They were giving away the posters. There were people, I had to wait until 4 people posted their little things so I could do my little quick right out of the theater short. And we waited till we got to the car. We were going to do our review sitting right there at AMC. And there were just too many people doing that shit. So to me, it was nuts. This was crazy. They're estimating $174 million opening weekend.
I bet this movie is gonna, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure this movie is gonna make bank, like bank. I'm talking maybe not $1 billion, 700 million for sure.
Make a lot
For
more
sure.
than the first one did anyway.
A lot more. But the first one, dude, the first one had two things working against it. A, it was 2021. Your main paying audience that goes to the theaters is the two main cities. It's New York and it's LA. Take what you want. It's the biggest crowds. It's the biggest, you know, the where the money lies. If you want it or not, it is what it is. And those places were mostly closed.
Yep.
And you had day and day release with HBO. So,
yes,
you know,
you didn't have to go.
Want it or not, piracy is a thing, and it got pirated to oblivion. I know. I saw the fucking numbers.
And I got asked, even Eris asked me, why are you going to see this in IMAX when we just watched it on HBO?
Yeah.
I'm like, because it's so much better that way. Not everybody's gonna feel like that. Not everybody's gonna understand that. When I saw that movie in the IMAX for the first time, I was blown away. Then I went and saw it again with Next to Iron Man, and I was blown away a second time. It's a visual and audio masterpiece. Cinematography's great. The score, which is really weird to even say, because it's almost like, what do you have? You have like a horn from a football game going off in, like, you know, a dungeon. And that's the score. But when you're sitting there and you're experiencing it, it worked. I don't know why it worked. It's very different. I saw Hans Zimmer and I'm like, this is the weirdest shit you've ever done, dude. This is not like, you know, your normal repartee of music.
Because he had to blend in sort of that metallical feel to a score when you had the Harkonnens on. And you had to blend in
the bagpipes,
Empire vibes, and you had to blend in the sand dunes kind of, you know, when there's like dunes and stuff, which is, you know, sort of Arabian Nights kind of like, you know, feel to it.
And there's a lot of that.
That was fine. My problem is not the visuals. The visuals were fucking cool.
Yeah.
The problem is it didn't move for me. I was like, we're 40 minutes in. I know what there is to do from now until the end of the story in terms of how the book plot kind of winds out. It's like, we're 40 minutes in. He hasn't met Gurney Halleck yet. And that's like 3/4 into the book. And we're have another quarter. What's going on? It's not like it's a 3-hour movie. It is a 3-hour movie?
Yeah, it is a 3-hour movie. And dude, that's one of the reasons why I felt so strongly when I came out of the theater was it felt like 5 minutes. It felt like all 5 minutes had passed for me. It was like I blinked and the movie was over. And I was like, and I come out of the theater and I'm like, holy shit, that was badass.
Let's just say that without getting like too deep into spoilers, there were lots of moments when they were just, you had the score on, which is fine, but they were like shooting people, looking into the camera or looking off to the side. And then you got to like literally the camera turning around and the people looking at the other people. Shots of the tents, shots of people raising up tents, very small conversations, not a lot of story development. And they were going off on the same kind of deal. Like I said, in the first 40 minutes, the same kind of, he's not a Fremen, but he's not from us. He will be with us. He won't be with us. And the gradual, like Javier Bardem was like a savior in this fucking movie.
Oh, dude, I love Stilgar. That's my favorite point of the movie. It's my
He said-
favorite character is Stilgar.
Yeah, but his parts, if you distill it to like moments, he has moments. Until then, it's mostly like Paul and Chani and their arguments, or Paul and Chani kind of talking about what he needs to do, or Paul. You know what I missed? The inner dialogue. The inner dialogue was there a little bit in part 1, and it wasn't really there in part 2.
No, it's
Paul's
true.
inner dialogue was there
What
a
he's dealing
little
with.
bit in part 1, and maybe it's a sort of the director's choice to like lean away from that. But I missed it. I missed the am I really the guy or am I not the guy? It was out in the open. They just all the inner dialogue that was like, am I the one or am I not the one kind of thing? That was all up in the open, and it was discussed between Zendaya and her like friend. And her friend was Zendaya was like always in the same. So Chani was in the same line. She didn't really develop into liking Paul until quite further away in the movie. Her friend was like anti-foreigners, and she was like the biggest Lisan Al-Gaib kind of, and supportive. I was like, oh, yes, I want it. I don't know. A lot of the stuff that I was really into, like, this is an introspective thing, but instead of it coming from Paul, it actually came from other people in order to satisfy the sort of plot points and talking points of the other character of Paul into the other characters, to give them something to do, to have a reason for them to be there. So, and I like the fact that I knew what's in the story and I knew what Lynch did with it, because if you take Lynch's movie and break it up into half and you use the other half from the moment they meet the Fremen until Paul kind of, and there he trains the Fedaykin, which is kind of weird, and he gives them the modules, which wasn't really in the book. He doesn't really teach them the voice, not in that kind of way. And in this one, he really doesn't teach them at all, and he doesn't have bodyguards at all. And I think in the miniseries he had a couple of bodyguards, but I haven't seen that thing in a while. No, not Sardaukar.
There was a few Fremen that were the elite.
In the miniseries, he had like 2 or
The
4.
elite Fremen.
Yeah, the elite Fremen. The elite Fremen were there in the miniseries, but there were like 4 people, 2 people, 4 people, something like that. And in the book, I've no idea in the book.
Yeah, the sound weapons weren't in the book.
Yeah, the sound weapons were not in the book. It was, I think he taught them what he knows about using the voice, but they haven't really mastered it.
The Weirding Way wasn't a module.
No, it wasn't a module.
It was their way in the 84 movie of combating laser guns.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, I love what they did with the lasers and how the lasers work in this movie.
My missus said the same thing. Do you like the lasers?
Yes, I love the lasers.
She said she loved the lasers because that's how lasers should work.
Yes, that is how lasers work.
How lasers should work, where it's, you shoot it and they just cut through everything.
Yep.
That's what they do.
Because she's an engineer and they don't have an imagination.
What?
And she worked with high-powered lasers.
Fuck you, I don't have an imagination, motherfucker.
I don't know if you heard that.
Oh yeah.
I'm about to
We
get
heard
smacked in the head.
No,
See?
but I love that. I love the way they did that.
Yeah.
I worked around lasers too. I actually delivered chemicals that were needed for chemical-based lasers. So I got to stand around sometimes and watch them do that shit. And I was just like, that's amazing. So when I saw that, boom, and it just cut through it like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah,
I was like, that is beautiful.
That's like I said, there are cool shots in this. It's I don't remember if we were live when I said it, and I will repeat myself. I don't like giving movies a number, but if you press me to give you a number, I would say a 5 out of 10, and I'm gonna get roasted regardless, and it really doesn't matter. Like
Don't
I
worry
said,
about
I
that.
got up from my seat. My wife was like, "This is boring," and I was walking through, and I was like, "I feel like crap because I know that I didn't like this thing, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the people who I respect, like I told you this, like I told you this on the DM. I respect your opinion about these kind of things, especially stuff that are near and dear to your heart. And I respect Gary, and I respect a lot of these different critics who were like, I after I actually done my review, recorded it, I'm free to listen to everybody else's opinion now. It's like, yeah, I kind of knew you would like this. And while we're going to the car, I was telling my wife, look, I don't think some of it was in the book. It's not really bad, but that ending though was not sitting well with me because I know where we're going. Plus, they were already going 2 chapters into the next book, but they've already greenlit. I think they greenlit Messiah of Dune. So having that sort of ending and then kind of have that extra scene of them going into doing that, which is milking the first 2 chapters of the second book. We were talking about this. There was a guy behind me who was very nerdy and very, bookish kind of fellow. Looks like me, but a bit shorter. And I looked at him, and he looked at me. We're in an elevator going down to the car, and he was like, "Yeah, I didn't like this either." He looked at me. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't like this either. This is not what I expected." Like, what can I do, dude? We get it.
I fell asleep.
I fell asleep.
She fell asleep. I nodded off. It didn't help that we were both kind of tired from the day, but I wasn't that tired. But
Do you think
like I
this
said, I
has
nodded
something to
off
do?
in some points. I was like 2 hours plus into it, and we were before the big battle, and I was like,
Do you think that this has anything to do with reading the books? Because I know Eris gave it an 8.75, whatever. She took a 1.25 off of it because of Zendaya. But she said the rest of the movie she loved. But she went into that not knowing what any of the book stuff. She had seen the 84 movie once. We watched it after part 1, but she was like, this isn't the same feel. And she didn't grow up seeing that as a kid. She didn't watch the 4-hour-long miniseries version. She'd never seen any of that. So do you think this has something to do with like growing up with this in the books, or do you think it's just shit?
I have no idea where it comes from. I don't know why I made it this way. Because, like I said, I really like the first part. And to me, it was a sort of a refresher to like, yes, it has the same story beats as the older movie, has the same story beats as the book. It's even closer to the book, which I prefer. Let me give you an example. I don't like the Harry Potter movies. I adore the books. Like, I adore the books. The only book that comes close to the only movie that comes close to what you read in the book is actually the first movie, which was fine because the first book was very short and it had very specific story beats that everything was mostly hit in the movie, which is fine. Because
Okay.
the book isn't very long. Dune is not very long, but it kind of got extended a bit too much in part 2. I think the first part covered 2/3, right? 2/3 of the book itself. And then the final kind of training, realizing who he is, finding himself, doing something that no man has ever done. Again, not too much spoilers, but generally doing stuff that no man has ever done, and then becoming the Kwisatz Haderach through that, gaining the power, being that sort of prophet, messiah, prophecy, whatever. It should have been shorter. If this movie was 45 minutes shorter, it would have been way better for me.
So
It would
the
have bumped it
word
up
is
to like a 7.5, 8. Probably.
45 minutes were cut. So this was almost a 4-hour movie. So you've got like Lord of the Rings level.
Wait. How long
extended,
was this movie?
45 minutes were cut
From the theatrical
movie,
version?
From the theatrical version. So you've got a Lord
I don't
of the
want to
Rings
watch
style
I don't want to watch the
edition.
extended version of this. I'll watch the first part. I'll watch the first part extended version. I haven't even checked if there is one. I would watch the extended version of the first part. I will not watch the extended version of the second part. It should have been shorter. Way shorter.
So
And you know what the problem in Lynch's movie? You know what the part in Lynch's movie? From that point where, like, if you think about from the point where they meet Stilgar in the desert till the end, is relatively shorter, like compared to the other parts of the movie, relatively shorter than that side. So it's like 2/3 and 1/3, just like the book. And the part where they take over is completely rushed. So there's Paul's training, Paul's realization, going out to the desert, having the thing that happens to never happening to another man, Jessica's transformation, all that stuff happens like at a normal pace, and then the entire takeover of the Harkonnens is rushed in the Dune 84 part. And then suddenly the Emperor's here. Right?
Yeah.
In this one, it took a while.
Before we get out of here, there's one more question I got to ask you because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Alia. It's another issue people have talked about. They're adapting a book, so I understand sometimes things are going to be different when you adapt a book to a movie, but that's a pretty big thing that was changed.
Yeah, she was supposed to be out already. She was supposed to be, I think, 3-year-old. Was it in the book? She's 3?
About that,
or
yeah.
4?
Because the waters of life accelerated. She was born early.
She was born early.
She's like a 10-year-old, but she's in a 10-year-old body, but she's like 3 years old. Yeah, it's
or
like
the other way. They dealt with that kind of weird, and they didn't. So Jessica was talking like for both of them.
Yes.
Instead of maybe hearing her whispers, she said
sometimes it almost seemed like she was taking over Jessica and talking through Jessica.
Yeah.
There were a couple of times where it was odd. Like, is that Jessica or is that Alia? Because she'll talk to Paul and she'll be like, your sister thinks blah, 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 blah. But then later there's a point where she says something and she does it in the Reverend Mother voice.
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, is that her or is that Alia?
And there's
Holy shit.
And there's a point where she actually, in her manifested older body. So it was Anya Taylor-Joy, the girl from Queen's Gambit.
She's also
she was there for a minute, and she looked exactly like Alia should look when she's older.
Yes,
but she's not older until Children of Dune. No. Yeah, Children of Dune.
Children of Dune. It's after Messiah.
It's after Messiah.
Yeah, because they
or
want,
at the very end of Messiah.
I don't know if I want to let that cat out of the bag.
Don't.
Yeah, the weird witch ladies have some weird ideas.
Yeah.
So I'll just say that much. Okay, so
I'm not going to go into. There's a like for people who have never read the book. There's another revelation. I checked today. There is a revelation that happens at the tail end. It's not really at the end of the movie, but at the tail end of the movie, which is not even revealed. And I checked it today until the middle of Children of Dune. That's where it gets revealed. So it's not a big thing, but it does affect certain plot lines throughout Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. You know what? I'll tell you off screen if you don't know what I mean.
Okay.
It's a plot point that is like a major spoiler. If you haven't, even if you've seen Dune 84, it's a major spoiler because, like I said, it's closer to what you get in the books rather than getting the Lynch version.
Yeah.
And there's no Arrakis transformation either.
No, you
which
didn't,
is a big part of the ending.
They're going off to fight. They're going to go off and fight. So.
But that's Dune Messiah.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're getting out of here. I want to thank Mephisto. Thank you very much, brother. Thank Mrs. Mephisto and Kid Mephisto for being in the stream this morning.
She's the YouTube generation. She's like, oh, Daddy does YouTube. It's like she's like, I want to be a part of it. I'll sneakily come and ask Mom for something. Yeah, that's
and
how
then
it happens.
Be like,
yeah. I think she even crashed one of the Saturday shows where she was supposed to be asleep. But okay.
But yeah, guys, we're gonna get out of here. We'll be back at some point later today for some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Enjoy
gameplay.
that.
I got through chapter 1 last night. I am going to start it over and go through that again for everybody. I just wanted to be up to date on it enough that I could do a quick review with Prince Zhao and Nick over at EBN to get through chapter 1, because we're going to be doing like quick reviews through every chapter or something. I don't know. Stay tuned for that. What do you have coming up?
Well, for me and my channel is Monday, Wednesday, Friday is a movie review. It is 8 p.m. my time. I do my reviews every 8 p.m. my time, which is noon-ish US, depending on where you are in the US. And every Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, the Real McCoy podcast, we ask you out there to go and watch a movie throughout the week, and then we break it down on the weekend, sometimes with guests, sometimes solo, having some fun. That's the highlight of my week. I prepare all week, and I try to stay focused, but sometimes life gets ahead of me. But on the Saturday, everything stops for a couple of hours, have some fun, geek out on some movies, and enjoy ourselves.
I do not know what Crow you were talking about. There's only one Crow movie, and that stars Brandon Lee. Anything else is shit.
Yeah.
So
especially the Joker Crow, Skarsgård. I see ya.
I'm not talking about that. Not discussing that. All right, guys. We're getting out of here. Yeah. Too bad I know you, Skarsgård, all the day. Jabba no bata. Oh my God. Okay, guys, we're getting out of here. Take care. Be excellent to each other. Always speak Brendaner. And we'll see you guys later today for some Final Fantasy VII. Have a great one, everybody.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.